No one can ever prepare you for college. One can only try. When I was young, I used to wonder that how could one stay away from house all alone in a disparted city where no one knows no one? How would one feel so free that they had no responsibilities on their shoulders? No one to tell them to study at one time, wake up at one time, and do your regular chores day in and day out. And how would that freedom feel like? College is a place where people feel like characters who are straight out of some comic book, who are absent and present at the same time, and they are awesome and weird in some or other manner. And this paradox creates a funny situation. We have 42,000 students contended for level 1 out of 1,42,000 students, which is just 31.7% of the students. And versions of the students are coexisting in the same college. And for the next 10 minutes, we will feel the panic, the relief, and the constant trade-offs of being a college student. I lived their life for a day to show you what it really feels like. You will never see the time the same way again. These lives are running in parallel but often invisible to each other. Welcome to the game of boredom, and these are the characters of this game, all with different life and starkly different ambition.
Characters with different power-ups, abilities, and aspirations.
As said by the sages, the quality of life depends upon the things which you do when you are freaking bored. Let's talk about our first character, Raghav. He's a brilliant student and he has been coding from his 10th grade. His mother being a professor at Delhi University and brother being an HDE at Amazon, and this exposure has made him interested in the field of coding, and he has been building apps since his 12th grade. He gets up from his bed and it's almost 7 in the morning. He gets a notification on his phone asking to help an elite code sum, and it takes an hour, but he solves it. And later he checks the time and he realizes that he is late for his class. So he rushes up and puts on his shoes. Even though he knows more or less about each and everything about computer science, he still attends classes because it's his favorite professor. His professor guides him through the process and asks him to participate in various hackathons and keep an eye on upcoming AI. And the cycle continues. And what about exams and practicals? It's a piece of cake for him, and he aces those examinations and even helps his friends through this process. So he's loved by each and every student and respected by most of them. And he comes back and have his lunch and finds out that all the classes are cancelled in the evening, and spends his evening playing the Legend of Heroes Trail of Cold Steel series. And after 5 p.m., his side quest begins. He starts coding and starts earning coins, goodies, medals, and a PayPal notification arrives at 9 p.m. of a client of which he made the website of the past week. And he has dinner watching anime, and he reverts back and works till 2 a.m. and he shuts the laptop. And a call from his dad arrives asking him about how his day went and pleading him to fill the form of naval service. But he declines it, and it bothers him a bit about why his father wants him to do the thing which he hates. And he stays lying on his bed wondering about his father's thoughts, and soon this thought vanishes away and he heads to the sleep after scrolling some anime. And here comes our second character, Krish. He wakes at 1 a.m. in the noon, feeling dizzy after last night. And realizes that he has missed his discrete mathematics class. Calls his friend to figure out a way to proxy his attendance and smokes a cigarette, watches reels, and then a message arises from his elite friend asking him to come to the next class. And he replies positively and he freshes up and has lunch and meets Raghav in the mess. And Krish drives us back to the college, spots Eeshwar on the way. As he attends his classes, he's bored with the class and he makes a plan for heading out somewhere fun. And Krish enjoys the ride to nearby hill station, leaving behind all the assignments and the group projects. And Krish is a pretty chill guy and doesn't give a fuck about anything. You and me might have seen this person somewhere or other in our class, and you can imagine this person to be like. But the only problem he is irritated by is his addictions. And Krish has fallen in the cycle of quitting later, kal karte hain, kal se दारू बंद and whatnot. You know what I mean. And as the night dawns, Krish comes back to his room.
Continuing the podcast.
Then a call arrives from his mother, asking, "Beta, tu theek to hai na?" And our Krish just couldn't answer the question, despite being asked several times, cause he knows he's not good. मैं ठीक नहीं हूँ, मैं छुड़ाना चाहता हूँ. Watches some podcasts and sleeps away, hoping to fight his problem of addiction, and the cycle continues. And the main problem is his peer group. Due to his peer group being seen throughout, he is left in the cycle of addiction. You must have seen this character who is vulnerable to the feelings. He's a good friend but a bad human, and it's 12 p.m. and heads to the terrace of his hostel, immersing himself in the shy area. He's Kyaro Gaya, and he really wants to come out of the addiction and give himself a new chance. And here comes our third character, Eeshwar, the juiciest character of all. He's the most favorite character, like you and me. Eeshwar is a hardworking kid and highly ambitious. He always dreamt of joining IIT cause his cousin sister studied there. But when the reality smacks, he's landed in a tier-free college with all other animals like us. All his life, he has imagined his college life to be extravagant, awesome, amazing, where the people would be open-minded, talk about big dreams, talk about FANG interviews, talk about entrepreneurship, talk about startups and whatnot. But when he comes to the college, all his expectations comes crashing down on himself. And he realizes people just care about fucking attendance and the shitty CGPA, which would be of no use when this college finishes. And always remember, never ever tell your aspirations in a tier 3 college, and always try to be exceptional. And when you're trying to be exceptional, don't try to fit in, cause it's by definition you are an exception. But Eeshwar gathers himself and tries to experience various things which you could get hands on, and sees his school friend on social media building a YouTube channel, finds his senior selling t-shirts and minting profit, and his own roommate gaining few bucks by trading in shit. And some ask him to make a good physique of himself, some ask him to develop his social skill, some ask him to sell online, some ask to develop CV, and is bombarded with all the advices around him, and is always anxious and always in foam, trying to chase the next shiny thing, trying each and everything but not achieving success in any of those, where he's just stuck in the loop of waking up at 7 a.m., watching tutorials on the internet to grow rich and whatnot for an hour, dashes to brush and freshens up and has his breakfast and tries to study and maintain a 7.5 CGPA and attendance. And Eeshwar, in the pursuit of CGPA and attendance, he loses his side quest, and the aspiration takes a backseat. And whenever he is bored, he watches the tutorials at 2x speed and following awesome people on Twitter and asking them the best advice they would give their 20-year-old self. He attends all his classes, watches reels, and is left with nothingness. And a call from his parents arrive asking him to study for a government job and try to figure out something which should keep him stable throughout his life. But he wants to think out of the box. He wants to grow richer. He wants to grow bigger. And his aspirations are not supported by anywhere. And is left with nothingness and the pressure from his parents asking him to study for a government job even destroys the tinge of aspiration which is left within. And always remember, you need to be reminded more than you need to be taught. And always try to be the strongest person in the room. And the strongest person is the person who can execute their ideas the faster. The faster they can execute their ideas, the stronger you are. And here comes our fourth character, Sharan. Trust me, you and me have this one friend who is just freaking shameless. And you're astonished कि ये कुछ भी कर सकता है. ये किसी चीज से नहीं शर्माता है. And he seems like a jab of all but master of none. And Sharan has developed insane grit. And despite doing many things, he achieves success in more or less everything. And Sharan wakes up early at 5 a.m. goes to the gym to attain his dream physique. Because he believes in and his mind seems very different. Because he sees life as an unsymmetric game. Because he believes or knows that 20% of the things will fix the other 80% of the things. The amount of work he does today will yield 100x amount of result one day. So he plays life as points to earn, and he comes to the room, freshes up, and opens the laptop and sends the mail to the potential clients. And all day he spends his time editing videos for his clients and rarely attends the classes. And everything seems sorted and beautiful and so arranged from top to bottom when you look from an outside perspective, but is broken from his inside. Sharan is less emotional in nature, so he rarely seems to have true connections with other human beings. Because Sharan sees world as numbers, and he faces the heat of small talks which he hates, and yet he works on himself. He fakes to not care, but it does hurt him. And he works on himself, trying to achieve things and trying to get oneself better and better. And for him, happiness is not considered a question. And to cope up with his feelings, he journals day in, day out, which keeps his mind fresh and always on track to achieve the things which he always wanted to. Because let's imagine what would happen if we just did the thing despite how we felt, how far we might have gone from then we are here today. It may sound cynical, but it is what it is. And as the day passes, he has his lunch and spends his evening watching a movie and completing his assignments for the next day. And he works on himself to achieve the things that he wants, but he never goes all in. Thus, it provides him a sip of success but never a cup of it. He meditates and tries to keep his mind idle but doesn't help completely, and is a problem of late execution, due to which he achieves success but in a limited quantity. No one knows when he will change the game, but he's just a joker stuck in opportunity paradox. And after going through this four starkly different lifestyles and responsibility arcs and the aspiration of this type of students, I just realized a new fact that everyone has got the same amount of time, and it is what that builds us or breaks us. How spending just a few hours on the day on certain project will mammothly change the entire landscape. It stands to prove that the quality of life depends upon the things which you do when you are freaking bored. It is the game of boredom. It is the game of doing the boring things over and over.